Running here. So in this video we'll be learning game development in Python. So let's get started. So the module I'll be using for game development Python will basically be Pygame. So let's download that using our terminal or command prompt if you're on Windows. So if you're on Linux or iMac, use pip3 command. But if you're on this Windows, use pip command. So I'm using pip3 install Pygame. It'll take around 1 or 2 minutes to download it, but as you see, it's already installed in mine. So now that that's done, let's get started. So I have my window open now. In Visual Studio Code, I have the folder Pygame tutorial and pygame.py file. So now let's just start by importing Pygame. So import Pygame. Now let's initialize Pygame. So to initialize Pygame, so what initialize basically does it, we can open up the window and use the commands now. So pygame.init to initialize the Pygame window. Okay, so now that's done. Let's have a window. So window is equal to pygame dot display dot set mode, and I want a tuple. So this will basically have, it'll ask for what do you want the height and the width to be. So I want the height and the width to be by 800 by 800. Okay, let's just give our window a name. So window, to do that we just have pygame dot display dot set caption. We'll set a caption for the window. So caption, and I want it first game. Okay, now that's done. Let's just have the main game loop before running it. So main game loop. So I'm gonna have a while true loop. So while true, so while it's true, let's just change this to press. Okay, so while true, for loop inside it, for event in pygame dot event dot get. So we'll basically get all the events in pygame dot event dot get. So if event dot type, if the event type is equal to pygame dot quit in all caps, I want to basically quit Pygame. I'll just explain that. Pygame dot quit. Okay, so what basically does it, if the event dot type, so the event is when I press this button or I quit it, it should quit the whole file. Okay, so now if we done it without, hopefully without any errors, if we run this, we should get a window. Okay, nice, we got a window, its name is Pygame. Okay, now that's done. I want to tell this before we start. Let's just have a coloring window. Okay, so to change the window's color, we use .fill command. So window.fill. Okay, so now I tell is that when you want to change the color of an object or a rectangle in Pygame, it should be an RGB, so which stands for red, green, and blue. So if I want, for example, if I want to have the color black, I will have 0 by 0 by 0. So black is the variable and it's equal to 0 by 0. But the highest you can get is 2 by 255 by 255 2 by 255, which basically is white. So I want to fill the window's color by black. Okay, so now we have filled in the color. It won't do anything much, but the next thing I want to have is, if you know about Pygame, is that if we don't set the FPS, which is frames per second, if you don't set that, the system, your system will try to run the file as fast as possible. It'll take up high CPU usage, but we don't want that to happen, do we? So let's just have a variable FPS, and that will be equal to pygame dot time dot clock. Okay, and now in the coloring window, fps dot tick 60. So it'll run the file at 60 fps, not higher, not lower. Now let's just have this in here in the while loop. So coloring, I forgot to tell one thing, is that in Pygame, use pygame dot display dot update. It's really useful if you're writing really big codes. So what basically does this is it automatically updates the file, so which will be really helpful. Okay, it won't do much, but let's just see if it doesn't give any errors. It doesn't. Okay, so now we can start by drawing in the player, having the player. So let's just have a player variable. Player is equal to pygame dot rect. So rect stands for rectangle, and dot rect command takes in 4 arguments. Basically, where do you want to place it inside the screen, and how long or how what do you want the height and the width of the object to be. So I want to place the object at 385 by 385, and I want it to be 30 pixels by 30 pixels long. Okay, now but we won't be able to see if we just do this. To us to be able to see the player, we have to draw the player onto the screen. So to do that, let's just head over the clear coloring function. So player or pygame, so pygame dot draw rect. So if I'm drawing the rect, this dot draw dot rect takes in 3 arguments, which is where do you want to draw it, and what color do you want it to be, and what you're drawing. So the surface is basically the window, so I want to draw it in the window. And the color, let's just have a white color. So up over here, so white is equal to 255 by 255 by 255, and the color is white. And what do I draw? I'm going to draw the player. So now, hopefully without any errors, if we do this, yes, we get a player. It's a little white dude. Okay, next thing is that it doesn't do much. So before having the player movement, as we know, when you press the keys on a keyboard, it should move, but I don't want the player to be spamming the, for example, the W key to go up. I just want him like just press it, I'll go up. So to do that, let's just have keys a variable, and keys is equal to pygame dot key dot get pressed. So key dot get pressed. Okay, so what this does is when I press the key, it should automatically go up, so it's keep on pressed. Okay, so now let's just hover over here. Let's have a function move. Okay, and let's just have a player speed up over here. So player speed will be equal to s, and s is 5. So player speed is equal to 5. Okay, so if player, so if player or if keys, yeah, it's keys, right? Yes, it's keys. Okay, so if keys, if I'm pressing pygame dot key w, I want the player capital P, and this, whoops, yeah, player dot y minus equals s, not plus equals but minus equals. So the thing in Pygame is that whenever you are having screen, the coordinates for 0 0 are not exactly in the middle. They are at the top left corner, so right over here. So if you're going up, we're decreasing the y value. So to do that, if you're going up, so pygame dot y minus equals, and if we're going down, plus equals. So let's just copy this, command C, command V, and if I'm pressing the S key, I want the player to go down. Okay, so let's just copy this and have it for left and right. So yeah, if I'm pressing the A key, I want the player's X value to be decreased by S, and if I'm pressing D, I want the player's X value to be increased by S. Now let's just have the move one in here in the while true game loop, and now if you run this without any errors, and okay, so you see we got a player that moves around, which is cool. But now the thing is, if I go over here, the player gets out of the screen and now we can't see it anymore, and we don't want that to happen, do we? So now let's just have a border for it. So like if its coordinate is equal, if it touches over here, it should stop moving. Okay. Let's just have a function, name it border. So dev border. So if player dot x is higher than or equal to 759-ish. So if it's higher than 759, I want the player speed to be 0 and player dot x to be equal to 758. So what this will do it, as soon as the player's x coordinate reach the value 759, it'll stop it from moving and it'll set the variable back to 758 so it can move again. Okay, so we can copy this and have the same for if we are going left side. So if player dot x is smaller than or equal to, if the player dot x is if the player dot x is smaller than or equal to 5, as the speed will be 0 and player dot x will be set to 6. Okay, so you can just copy the whole thing. So command C, B, and change this to y, this also to y, and this also to y, this is y. And now let's just have the border function in here. So border like this. Okay, so now if we run this without any errors, nice. So as you see, if I go over here, it just stops the movement. Even if I do anything, it just stops, which is nice. So yeah, this is it for this video, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.